game defense? Yes, absolutely. Was the Colts game really bad? Yep, it sure was. I was there. Drove up all the way to see it, and I was disgusted driving back home. 1,300 miles round trip. I was definitely upset after that Jonathan Taylor thrashing. However, I don't fear the Titans. I don't fear Derrick Henry the way that others do. And I don't fear Mike McDaniel's new San Francisco 2.0 offense the way maybe others do. I understand they're going to be very efficient, probably running the ball. We'll see how far it gets them. Who is throwing the football, and how effective can your quarterback be? I like that 2-1's Bill. 2-1, Bills. Go to the Ravens. Another road game, week 4. Probably be a tough matchup. The Ravens were obviously devastated by injuries last year. That's an anomaly. That is not something that's normal. They don't have injuries like that every single year on one football team. I remember that their running back room got ravished. A lot of things went wrong for them injury-wise for them last year for the Ravens. Still counting it as a win for the Bills to move them 3-1 because I do like our quarterback better than their quarterback. And I have a lot of respect for Lamar Jackson. Week 5, at home against the Steelers. Maybe we can exact a little bit of revenge from the home opener last year. Another game I was at, another game I left disgusted. However, it was the first game of the year, so I kind of let it slide a little bit because of the fact that, it's the first game. You're trying to work out kinks still, so it's no problem. Week 5 this year, I'm expecting the Bills to beat the Steelers. The Ben Roethlisberger-less Steelers. Absolutely. Now, after that is obviously the game that everybody's focused on. Everybody's ready for the Chiefs, and we're always ready for the Chiefs. However, in this situation, going on the road, late game against the Chiefs, 4:25 kickoff, I've got to put a loss for it just because of the fact that, they're the boogeyman for me still. Now, I'll blame Sean McDermott. I'll blame the defense for the 13 seconds. And I don't even want to bring it up any more than that. We should have won the game. Obviously, we all know that. Until we do it in the playoffs, it's kind of that Tom Brady New England mentality that I'm going to have with the Chiefs for now. And that's my own personal preference. I am not going to pick the Bills to beat the Chiefs until they do it in the playoffs. I'm going to be nervous every single time we match up with them because of the fact that they're the Chiefs, they have Patrick Mahomes, and they beat us when it counts. Now, I know we got a win last year against them. Remember that there was a big, storm in the middle of the game. I don't know if that affects it or not. We were still whooping them anyway, so I don't think that it really mattered. But the year before, we didn't look that good against them in the regular season. Obviously, they put us out of the playoffs the last 2 years. So, listen, they're the boogeyman for me. Let me have my own boogeyman. I've got my own boogeyman in the closet. I know there's not monsters in the closet. I know when I shut my lights off that I'm just by myself and there's not any monsters in the closet. Let me be a 5-year-old again. Let me be a 7-year-old again. There's a boogeyman in the closet. I know it. There's a monster under my bed. I know it. So until they do it in the playoffs, I'm going to always count it as a loss, and that's just my own personal preference. I don't really care about the regular season. I want to beat them if they have to match up against them when it counts, and we haven't been able to do it. So that's a Chief wins to drop us to 4-2. Now, we enter the bye week after the Chiefs, and then the way I wanted to break it down was kind of 7, and then the last 3. So if we're including after the bye week, since we have an early bye week that year, we've got the Green Bay Packers on a Sunday night game, our second Sunday night game of the year, at home, at the Ralph. Now listen, I'm counting it as a loss, and I know Justice General, he's going to be all over me for that take, because he is right. If you listen to our podcast from the other week, he's correct. It matters that Davante Adams left the same way it matters for the Titans that A.J. Brown left. That matters. And he used a great word, telepathy. They do have a synchronization between the two of them. That's Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. They don't have to speak. He calls the plays, and they already know the different variation, the different hot routes, the different wrinkles that they'll put into different routes. They don't have to speak about it because they have so much time on task, as they would say in the football world. They have so many reps together that they can read each other's thoughts. So if you look at your scorecard, Buffalo Bills, the same way I am for that first 7, that could be weird to look at. 4-3 after 7 games. Coming out of the bye week. Wow. I expected a little bit better. I expected a little bit more. We'll have those kind of shows, and we'll have people going crazy on WGR and different things like that, different platforms, and asking what's wrong with the Bills. Nothing's wrong with the Bills. In my opinion, coming out of the bye week, you might take that loss at home against Green Bay. I'm putting it down as a loss. That's fine with me. That's 4-3. I've got 5-3 against the Jets, 6-3 against the Vikings, 7-3 against the Browns, so on and so forth, all the way till we get to those last 3 games, which we'll go over here in a moment. Listen, the Jets are better. They are better. Joe Douglas seems to know what he's doing a little bit, for sure. And I'm obviously being, facetious with that. He looks like he's got his head on straight. I'm not trying to give the Jets too much credit, but it looks like he's got his head on straight. The draft went well for them. Now, we don't know. It's about player development. It's about how you coach these guys up. What kind of scheme are you running? I know Robert Saleh. A lot of people like him. I like him. I'm always supporting minority coaches regardless, hoping and rooting for their success because I want the doors to be open for more thereafter. We know the NFL has a problem with that. But if I look at the Jets, I still can't give them too much credit because the same way that the Dolphins. It's Zach Wilson. There's something about him that I'm not sure that I'm sold on. I want my quarterback to be cocky, yes. I want him to have an air of confidence about him, of course. You want him. You want him to be the biggest man on campus when he walks into the facility. I get that whole rhetoric of the quarterback and what they mean to the building. However, there's just something about him. I don't know. And that could be a wrong statement about him. That could be a mischaracterization. He's got a little bit of Johnny Manziel in him to me. A little bit of Baker Mayfield. A little bit too much swag without production. I understand swag, but, complete 70% of your passes one game, or complete 64% of your passes one game. 3 touchdowns. No picks. Very few sacks. Do it. And then after you do it again the next week. That type of thing. So what sold me on 17, our quarterback, is the fact that I've seen him do it now. I'm confident that he can do it. I'm not worried about him doing it. I have a confidence in him showing up in the biggest moments for us. So because of that, I don't know, it's a little bit different. Look at the Minnesota Vikings. So I'll take the Bills to 5-3. Look at the Minnesota Vikings to go to 6-3. We can skip right over. What are they doing? Kind of a backwards rebuild. Looks like they want to rebuild, but they don't want to commit to it all the way. Change coaches, different things like that. But it looks like they still want to try to win because they're keeping Kirk Cousins. So who knows? The Browns to move to 7-3. That's week 10. Week 11 technically because we've got the bye week, but that's 10 games in. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know how many games he's going to be suspended. I don't know if he'll be suspended at all. I like the Bills with or without Deshaun Watson. He obviously elevates them above Baker Mayfield. And the reason that I'm going 13-4, you understand in a moment. Lions, another win. Thanksgiving. Can't wait for that one. Now, that's an early game, and I love listening to WGR, and Jeremy White's all worried and about how we're going to prep the meals and different things like that. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I love the fact that there'll be 3 football games on my favorite holiday of the year, and I get a chance to watch my Bills start everything off. No stress. Take care of the Lions to move to 8-3. Patriots, Thursday night, Prime Video. Don't know how I'm going to watch it. I guess I've got to get Prime Video. They're forcing us now to make sure that you get it, and I understand how they do with their old broadcasting packages and different things like that. So, Bills travel to Foxborough Thursday night. I'll push us to 9-3. Jets, we just talked about them. Push them to 10-3. Dolphins again. At home, 11-3. Now, I understand everybody's looking at that schedule and saying, yo, Crip, you got to win a lot of games in a row. We saw that, though, didn't we? We saw that. We saw them rattle off a bunch of games in a row 2 seasons ago. The only thing that was breaking the actual consecutive streak of it was the Hail Murray. That's it. The Bills were rolling into the playoffs 2 seasons ago. So we've seen them rattle off wins. I understand that it's a lot of wins in a row. 8 straight is a lot. It's hard. I get it. But I like them. 11-3. Now we'll go to the Bears and put that to 12-3. No problem there. The Bears are a joke of an organization at this point in time. No reason to go over that. Now, a fun one. 2 weeks left. Bengals. Monday Night Football. On the road. In Cincinnati. I'll take a loss. Now, bear with me. Bear with me. One of these games you're going to have to get a loss in. Now, if we're running off all these games, you're going to have to get a loss in one of them. So if you want to flip the Bengals game for a different game, be my guest. The Bengals are a team that I feel are frauds. However, there is power in disrespect. Let me explain that. Coaches are constantly trying to come up with motivating tactics, for their teams. They're constantly trying to find an edge. They're constantly trying to find a way to make their team feel slighted. We all famously know after watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan and that 10-part series, how Michael would manufacture drama. He would manufacture disrespect to bring his game up to another level. Now, that might sound crazy, and that might sound crazy to the regular person, but to an athlete, that is not crazy. You watch A Football Life with Thurman Thomas, same thing. The disrespect of being however many running backs went before him fueled him. Every time he went against one of those teams, he felt something a little bit extra, a little bit more juice. That's not a fake thing. That's nothing to poo-poo at that. I understand that people laugh at culture and different things like that and say, what does it really mean when you have a bad culture versus a good culture? If you're losing, then obviously you have a losing culture and a bad culture. If you're winning, then obviously it's a great culture. And I'm a subscriber to that. I always speak about that. Doug Marrone put, slogans on the wall the same way Rex did, the same way Chan did, the same way Sean McDermott started putting playoff caliber and then switched it to championship caliber. I get all of it. I understand there are different tactics to motivate your guys to keep them engaged throughout a long, hard, grueling, painful season. I get it. However, I'm not going to just look at it and just kiss my teeth to it and just say that it means nothing. I think the Bengals are going to be a pissed off team this season. I do. Now, I don't think much of their coach. Another season of mediocrity, he would have been fired. They caught lightning in a bottle. They got very lucky at the right times. I have no idea how to explain why Patrick Mahomes played the second half against them that he did in the AFC Championship game. I've already stated that. I concede. Weird stuff happens in sports. I have no idea why he played that way and played the game of his life out of his mind against the Bills the week before. What I will say is that all of the shade, all of the disrespect being thrown to Cincinnati, I'm sure they're going to be ticked off. So I'll take it as a loss. Again, you can flip that game if you just don't like Cincinnati and you were a subscriber that we were going to whoop them and go to the Super Bowl, because I am as well. I'm in that same crowd, so I won't hide from it. I thought we were going to whoop them. I was making plans as Tyler Bass was kicking off, waking up my neighbors with the shout song on the loudest possible setting my boombox would go in the garage. I woke up everyone as Tyler Bass was kicking off. Commercial leading into kickoff, I didn't even watch it. I was that excited. I was that ready, trying to figure out the menu. Literally. So I get it. But Cincinnati, I'll put it down as a loss. That'll move us to 12-4. We'll finish the season, which is a little bit unique because we haven't really finished up the season against New England too many times, but at home against New England. And for me, even with a Cincinnati loss, or again, you want to take that and make that a win and make any of the other wins a loss during that little streak, that little 8-game, 9-game win streak, you can make it a Browns loss. You could somehow think that we're going to lose to the Lions, or you might make it a Patriots loss on the road. Whatever you want to do. 13-4 looks right to me. It feels right to me. And when I look at the standings and then I look at the conference, the AFC, I'll say it every time. It's cannibalism. The AFC West is going to be a massacre. We do not have to play every team. I think that 13-4 can get it done. It might be close, but you tell me what other teams in the conference have the capability of winning